Good Tuesday morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, November 17th. We are going to continue with Pinballs Chapters 21 through 23 today. Where we left off yesterday, Carly had discovered that Harvey's leg was swollen, his toes were swollen, and he was trying to act like it was no big deal, but she went and told Mrs. Mason. Mrs. Mason took Harvey to the hospital, and they ended up keeping him in the hospital. And when she got home, she told Carly and Thomas J that he just didn't seem to care that his leg was infected. And remember, he had previously told Carly he just didn't think he was going to make it. So will Carly and Thomas J be able to cheer him up? What's going to happen? And remember, he's got a birthday coming up soon too. Chapter 21. Harvey was in a room by himself. He was, as Carly had known he would be, staring up at the ceiling. Excuse me. When Carly and Thomas J entered, they bumped into each other. They had known he would look bad, but not that bad. Well, look who's come to visit you, Carly said. Harvey turned his head to them. There was no expression on his face, but his lips were in a straighter line than usual. How are you feeling? Carly asked, coming closer. All right. Want me to roll up your bed? She asked. I love to do that. When I get to be a nurse, I'm going to spend all my time rolling people up and down. No, thanks. Oh, well, one drink of water then? Look, Thomas J., they have special straws that bend. The Benson twins had those. Carly shot him a hard look. What do you want a drink, Harvey? No. Well, can I have one then? I haven't got anything catching. As she bent to drink, she suddenly straightened. Hey, I'm going to have a surprise for you on your birthday. I'm not telling what it is, but I'm making it myself. She paused, waited, then asked, want to guess? No. Okay, I'll give you a hint. The thing I'm giving you is very useful, and it is also a thing of great beauty. Go ahead, try and guess. Harvey was silent. Ask me questions. Come on. Ask me things like, what color is it? What color is it? The guessing is underway. The colors are black and white and pink and yellow. She nudged Thomas J and grinned. Thomas J looked so puzzled that she leaned down and whispered, It's a chocolate cake with white icing, pink candles, and yellow flames. Now don't give it away. She stood at the foot of the bed waiting. Harvey was looking at the ceiling. I don't think he's going to guess, Thomas J said. Carly said, Well, if you really don't want to guess, we'll just wait and let it be a surprise. She moved around the bed. Oh, guess what happened today? This was so stupid. The phone rang, and I picked it up and said, hello? And this girl's voice said, hi, how are you? I said, oh, I'm fine. How are you? And she said, fine. What are you doing? I said, nothing much. How about you? She said, watching TV, only nothing good's on. I said, never is. Then there was a real long pause, and she said in a kind of funny voice, you know, I think maybe I've got the wrong number. Is this Marcy? I said, no, it's Carly. And we hung up. I should have known nobody in this town would call me. Wasn't that the stupidest thing? I almost died. Harvey didn't answer. Thomas J cleared his throat and said, Mr. Mason's going to take me fishing. And you too, Harvey, as soon as your legs get well, Carly said. Although if it was me and I knew I'd have to go fishing when I got cured, I'd probably just stay in the hospital. There was a pause, and then Carly said, hey, did I show you my decals? She held out her hands and let them drop. Oh, yeah, I did. Anyway, I'm glad you got to see them this afternoon because when I was making peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches for me and Thomas J, I dropped some mayonnaise on my hands and the decals melted. She held out her hands. It's probably something in the mayonnaise. There was another silence. Carly was still trying to think of something to say when the nurse put her head in the door. Visiting hours are over. But we just got here, Carly protested. You can come back tomorrow. Just give me 5 more minutes, Carly begged. She could not bear to leave without cheering Harvey up. She looked at him. His face was still turned to the ceiling. She wanted to say something funny. She wanted to make Harvey laugh out loud. Thomas J, she said through her teeth. He shrugged helplessly. Carly knew she was on her own. She tried to think of something funny that had happened to someone else, then she could turn it around and say it happened to her. She did that all the time, but now her mind was blank. Well, we better go, she said. She leaned over the bed. Listen, everything will be all right, she said. I promise it will. Then she turned to Thomas J. and said, Come on, the nurse will be chasing us out of here with hypodermic needles in a minute. They walked down the hall and out the front door of the hospital. Well, Thomas J., you and me are failures at being cheerer-uppers. I always have been, he said. Well, I haven't. I expected better of myself. Carly pulled her shoulders back. Listen, all night you think of funny things to say and talk about, and I'll do the same. Tomorrow will be funny enough to go on Hollywood Squares. That's a game show. It was actually pretty funny. I won't. She turned and grabbed him by the shoulders. Listen, tomorrow we are going to say funny things, and I mean it, right? Right, Thomas J. answered. Chapter 22. It was Thursday night, and Harvey was worse. Now he wouldn't even speak to anyone. The nurses had started feeding him through a tube in his arm. Harvey's father had come on Wednesday and sat with him for over an hour. He had told the doctors in a loud voice that money was no object. He told them they could spend whatever they had to, and he would foot the bill. He said that he had just gotten a contract to build an 8-unit townhouse. We're doing all we can, one of the doctors had answered. Carly was furious when she heard about it. You mean they let that rotten bum come in Harvey's room? It's his father, Carly. Woohoo! Next thing you know, they'll be letting germs and viruses in. That night, when everyone was in bed at the Mason house, Carly got up. She slipped into Thomas J.'s room and shone a flashlight in his face. You asleep? He put his hand up to block out the light. No, I was just lying here thinking. About Harvey? Yeah, I'm used to him being on the bottom bunk and shifting around and all. I can't get to sleep without him. It's too quiet. Me either. Now listen, I got an idea. You want to go in cahoots with me? Thomas J. wasn't sure what that was, but he said, I'll be glad to. All right, look. I went through the newspaper after supper, and guess what I found in the ads? What? Look right here. She shone the light on the folded newspaper. Can you read it? Thomas J. bent closer to the paper. Carly was too impatient to wait for his eyes to focus. She read it herself. Puppies free to good homes. Puppies? Yeah, Thomas J. We're going to go right over there first thing in the morning and get Harvey a puppy. Thomas J. couldn't seem to take it in. A puppy? Yeah. He's always wanted one, remember? It was the first thing on his list, and it'll cure him. Thomas J., I just know it will. Why, if I was in the hospital half dead and somebody hooked a floating opal around my neck, I'd get up and do the hula. She broke off. And the best part of it is they're free. See? Free to good homes. But is this a good home? Well, if it's good enough for us, it's good enough for a dog, isn't it? What about Mrs. Mason, though? She might get mad. I'll take all the responsibility. I'm used to people being mad at me. It doesn't bother me a bit. I'll say I forced you to come with me, and no, I want to come on my own. She can get mad at me too. All right, then. After breakfast, we'll go over to Woodland Circle, wherever that is, and we'll take a shopping bag. See, we'll have to sneak him to the hospital. And we'll pick out a puppy and take him over to the hospital and pull him out and sing happy birthday to you. How does that sound? Sounds good to me. I know it'll cure him. I mean, who's going to lie there staring up at the ceiling when a puppy is licking his face? It can't be done. What if the puppy doesn't lick him, though? We'll pick out one that will. After all, there's bound to be, how many puppies in the litter? 6, 7? There's bound to be one that licks. At the door, she paused and said, not a word of this to Mrs. Mason, you hear me? Yes, or Mr. Mason. Carly sensed the bond that had grown between them. There was a pause then. All right, see you in the morning. Okay, are they going to get a puppy for Harvey? If so, are the Masons going to get upset? We have one more chapter, chapter 23. Carly and Thomas J. walked slowly down the hospital hall with the shopping bag between them. I wish he wasn't such a wiggler, Carly said, looking straight ahead. That's why you picked him, because he was the liveliest one. I know, but I feel like we've got a tiger in there. The way this bag is shaking, I'm afraid he's going to bust out the bottom. If he wets, I know he will. Don't even think such things, Carly said. And remember, every time you see a nurse, get in front of the bag. Nurses are known for their sharp eyes. Doctors aren't. We could bring an elephant in here and the doctors wouldn't notice. Thomas J. and Carly went straight to Harvey's room. Shut the door, Carly said quickly. She ran over to Harvey's bed. He was staring at the ceiling. Hey, it's just me, Carly. You can look at me in safety. I'm not wearing one of my famous halters. He turned his eyes to her. I lied. She grinned. I've got on my shocking pink one, your favorite. Before he could look back at the ceiling, she said, Hey, we brought you something. Harvey didn't speak. And I'm not even going to make you guess what it is. I'm just going to tell you that it's fat, spotted, wiggly, that it has a tail and a pink nose, and that it's dying to get out of the shopping bag. She reached down and brought up the puppy. Ta-da! Puppy time! Carly nudged Thomas J. They sang happy birthday to Harvey. There was a silence. Thomas J. said, We wanted to get a white one so we could name him Snowball, but they all had spots on them. Carly set the puppy on the bed beside Harvey. She nudged him forward. Delighted to be out of the bag, the puppy rushed for the nearest face, Harvey's, and began licking his neck. Carly looked at Thomas J. and rolled her eyes upward. Thank goodness, she mouthed. Harvey didn't move. Don't you like him, Harvey? Thomas J. asked. It was the first present he had ever been in on. He wanted more than anything that it be a success. He's real nice and fat too, Thomas J. said. Feel him. Yeah, pleasingly plump is not the word, Carly said. And soft too, Thomas J. said anxiously. Harvey did not move. Thomas J. squinted up at Carly. Should we sing the birthday song again? Suddenly, Harvey lifted his hand. He laid it on the puppy. I don't think so, Carly grinned. Harvey spoke for the first time in 2 days. Is this for me? He asked. Compliments of Carly and Thomas J., Carly said. It's mine? Yeah, it's your birthday present. We picked it out special. Permanently? Sure. What kind of gifts do you think me and Thomas J. give? If we wanted to give you something unpermanent, we'd have gotten a popsicle. I can keep him? Yeah, sure. What else? As a matter of fact, he's unreturnable. The puppy was wiggling against Harvey's neck, and suddenly Harvey started to cry. It was the first time he had cried since the accident. It was like the turning on of a spigot. That's like the water hose out back. He sobbed, and the tears rolled down his cheeks in streams. The puppy, wild with excitement, licked at the tears. Go ahead and cry all you want to, Carly said happily. You got your own personal crying towel now. She turned to Thomas J. You know, when I get to be a nurse, every morning I'm going to bring a basket of puppies to the hospital with me. They're better than pills. Harvey was still crying. It makes me feel so, he broke off. I don't know. It's just that I didn't think, I don't know how I feel. He cried again. The nurse on the floor was passing the door and heard the commotion. She stuck her head in the room. Under the covers, quick, Carly said, poking the puppy under the sheet. What's going on in here? Believe it or not, Carly said, we are having a wonderful time. The nurse kept looking at Harvey. She said, Harvey, are you all right? Yes'm. Are you laughing or crying? Both, I guess. The nurse kept standing there. She noticed the bulge under the sheet, but she decided to ignore it. This was the first time Harvey had shown any sign of life in 2 days. You want anything, she asked. No. Cokes, Carly hissed at him. Oh, yeah. Could me and my friends have a Coke, Harvey asked. It's my birthday. He wiped the remaining tears on the sheet. Of course. Want to see what I got for my birthday? My friends gave it to me. Don't, Carly started to say, but Harvey reached under the sheet and pulled out the puppy before she could finish. Now, you know better than to have a puppy in here, the nurse said. Why, if I had seen that puppy, I would have to send him right out this minute. Yes'm. She smiled. I'll bring the Cokes. She started out the door and leaned back in. And many happy returns of the day, Harvey. Thank you. As the door closed, he held up the puppy so he could get a good look now that his eyes were dry. This is the nicest puppy I have ever seen. Thomas J. and me only give the best, Carly said. There were 6 of them, Thomas J. said, but this one came running over and started licking us, and we knew it was the one for you. Carly said, listen, don't think this puppy is all you're getting for your birthday, though. I'm making my famous mayonnaise cake and bringing it over tonight. And will you bring the puppy back too then? Listen, this puppy is not so easy to lug around, Carly said. If you want to do any real playing with him, you're going to have to get out of the hospital. I will, Harvey said, but will you bring him tonight? If, Carly said, Mrs. Mason will lend me her tote bag. And that's the end of chapter 23. So Carly and Thomas J. got Harvey a puppy for his birthday, and the nurse was very sweet to ignore it as if it wasn't there. Okay, I will see you guys all on our Google Meets, 6-2, 8:30, 6-3, 10 o'clock, and 6-1, 11 o'clock. Have a tremendous Tuesday. See you guys later. And I'll see you on here tomorrow reading the end of our book. Bye.